not quite enough. Jhin makes a ton of sense. You have so many threats, so picking something that just plays for utility and neutralizing lane is a role that Viper has been doing with grace.
Yep.
We know Viper is a very versatile player, so not going to be too bothered by this, as he's had great performances thus far.
Yep, the Rel going to be locked in there for Delight at the same time, allowing him to start off some of these fights. And the pick potential from Hummer Life Esports' composition is absolutely fantastic. Then big Magnet Storm follow-ups and things like that. Pull things in, allow the snip to go ballistic. As Andal, thinking about a Nico, would give them a lot of lane control and allows this bottom lane to be something to play through. Also giving Lazy Feel a good matchup towards that bottom side could help with one of his weaknesses, which is the laning phase.
Also tough for many of the champions on Humble Life to deal with. Everyone really outside of the Jhin has to get in close proximity, which is where you do get a ton of value out of Undeal jumping in. This is very heavy on the magic damage though. I don't think it'll be the end of the world, because we don't see any traditional tank on the enemy team, but maybe itemization
There is a certain weirdness today that is just leading me to feel that perhaps an upset is upon us. Let's see whether I'm just being weird.
Obviously is on a low cooldown. As unflinching, actually, since the change has been a lot more popular, do see it here for a number of players. Yukal, Delight, and Zeus all picking that one up.
Yep. Peanut is 6-0 on the Xin Zhao. They haven't been doing a lot of losing, ladies and gentlemen, so that's why you don't see a whole lot in the L's column. But Zeka has had one of the losses on the Ahri, as we're seeing here. Hit a bunch of your buttons to really put the pressure on. That's a flash from Delight, as Andal taking a whole lot of damage. The Ignite comes down. Delight still chasing after him, but Viper unable to follow up, down to 300 health himself. But HLE definitely looking good here for Rich at the moment. Yep. Is able to lock down these cannon minions, having a good time. Zeus actually avoiding a bunch of buttons here as well, as the Ghost is now down, and we were talking about Rich having a good time. Zeus has Ghost, dashes forward, there's a flash. Zeus will accept that as enough. So if I crash my dad's car, for example, I might need to hold that thought. As Zeka is getting ganked. Good Rune Prison comes down here from Yukal. Throwing a bunch of damage over Zeka's way. That's like he's just going to be okay. Immediately, Rich throws his flash away. We've got a little bit of an engage here, as Peanut could be in trouble. He's just dead. First blood going over to Yukal. As DRX looking for this Chemtech Dragon. Is it happening? Is it happening? Because look, okay.
In my case, right? And then you went to LCK, where you've been for the last 8 years.
Yes.
Where you talk so much every single day, so there is always going to be a lot of overlap. Which that overlap means that whatever you say, a lot of times won't happen, but will happen enough for your brain to start believing.
Well, I'm slowly moving away from the belief, as they're looking for the dive opportunity. Zeus could be in trouble. Lazyfield just going to walk him out, and he's not as immune as he wants to be. Still surviving for a long time. Sponge gets the stab though.
It frees up Sponge's time. Is this the least hinge stay we've done in a while?
It really is.
I feel like we haven't talked about the game at all.
Yeah, maybe we could do that. We could have a look. There is some grubs being taken here.
Just a little bit. I feel like we need to be able to at least...
making his way in, but Delight on the counter gank. Xin Zhao nowhere near, as Rich is going to start this one off, but Delight just says, Sponge, no. And Sponge says, all right. Walks back into the enemy jungle. Peanut looking to take things down. You can see things pretty even as far as camps are concerned. But there is a bit of a lead with Sponge picking up that extra kill. It's Rich coming on over, and actually Delight getting comboed down. This is a lot of damage, and he's just dead. Meanwhile, in the mid lane, DRX answered the aggression of HLE beautifully. Positive vibes continuing here for DRX.
Sponge is low. He's 2-0 now. Getting further and further ahead is Peanut.
Yeah, Andal going to find the Pop Blossom. Peanut has to use the Crescent Guard. Means he won't have that for the Dragon fight, actually, as now Zeus has turned back up again. Cut the tape, cut the video, as Rich does have flash. He flashes and uses it correctly, gets himself out of the way. That was a gorgeous little flash there. But still, the pressure is large from this Gwen.
That's not an easy one. Yeah, Zeus is still doing the Zeus thing. Sponge.
Oh, he just flashes for it. Okay, does he get the kill? The answer is no. It is still my ability to think good. As Lazyfield now fighting against Viper here. Viper not feeling too happy about that one. This is still MF. As there's a bullet time as Make It Rain comes on down. And the curtain's going to get called for no reason at all, because that misfortune is already dead. Sponge looking to try and punish Delight, though, for this. And Zeus comes in, and he's holding scissors. He is so dangerous. Andal not going to be doing anything to help this one out as HLE are going to find kill after kill after kill. UCal actually able to... Oh, never mind. I was about to say able to walk his way out, but the Deadly Flourish was underground! And so it killed him. It was definitely underground. As we check it out once again. And he's lining it up, lining it up. There it is. Damn, that was like max range as well as underground. That was impossible for UCal to do anything about.
Well, he couldn't walk back and...
Yeah.
Oh no.
As Rich is going to try and do some damage and disappears. Pops over to the other side, still going to be dead, but Peanut may suffer a loss of life for it. Never mind, he's fine. Trading to everyone at home. If I was like spectating, I would just turn it off. I just wouldn't be able to handle it. I'm like, I always need to look at like how many dragons the team has and stuff like that. As Sponge is in a little bit of trouble. Lazy Field not going to be able to offer too much. Goes in for a little bit of an auto attack. Sponge is standing his ground for quite some time, but Zeus teleported in, and so he was always going to be dead. Zeka now, that was at least cute. Zeka is likely to get point blank charm, but doesn't actually hit it. The bullets are looking good, as the curtain call is just going to be wandered out of, but...
The bullets. I beg your pardon? The bullets looked good. Is it...
Oh, the first one looked good.
Ah, okay. So aim.
At the aim, yeah.
As opposed to the aesthetic.
Yeah, aiming looked good for Gold King. No, he didn't. Not this week.
Not this week.
Okay, Rich dancing over. Zeus taking a little bit of damage here. It looks like that turret is going to survive, and there is a bit of a man drop. Sponge comes in, and once again the Gwen is dead. Not very immune this game by the looks of things. 3 deaths now on Zeus.
Oh, this is exactly one of the things that I highlighted earlier. So this is a great pick onto Zeus. Nicely done there using the global presence.
Sponge is mega proactive today. It is pretty impressive.
They should be able to kill Delight. I'm more worried about the repercussions of this.
Yeah, so Delight is dead. Andal is likely dead as well. Viper just needs one more bullet or a grenade, and that's going to take him down. Sponge puts up the gate, and it is once again a really nice Deadly Flourish. Oh, Wind becomes lightning, but doesn't hit him, and still Viper able to flash forward, picks up the kill. I love it so much. It's absolutely fantastic. Here's the man drop. Viper no flash, and he is definitely going to be dead. Oh, the curses, they just come... Okay, counter curse from myself. I apologize for that one, Sponge. But it's a 1-for-1 trade in the end, and I need to just make sure that I don't get too smug about Chronicler's cursing, because then the counter curse happens and then DRX can find a real lead.
Home Life is a really good team, and if DRX go for a punch, Home Life will go for a counter punch.
Oh, please stop with that.
Is that not what happened? And what will happen, because Home Life...
Okay. Rich is going to do his very best to try and bounce back to the other side of the circle, and does do so.
Adaka? No.
That is an option, and that is what they're going to go for here, as Sponge is dead and doesn't have the Grand Starfall available. So that means no smite going to be here. Lazyfield does have Infinity Edge on that back, but...
Yeah, that he does just kind of die. Second out, Shadow Flame done. Second item approaching for Pina as well, who's had a pretty muted game as Sponge is trying to get a Grom.
A battle, perhaps, as Blasco going to get rid of the Gwen. That could be a decent opportunity here as the Curtain Call is doing so much work. Lazyfield, the targeting of Viper is just gorgeous. Pop Blossom comes through, but it does not do nearly enough. And Sponge going to be turned on here. It's a deceptive orb, but it's actually going to be the scissors that take him down. 4 kills now for the Gwen. Again! Oh, dear. But, I mean, maybe people have watched it. It wasn't that great of a film. This is not great for Sponge. He's going to have to flash to get himself out of the way of that one, but still does do so. Rich throws a bunch of buttons to Narnia. Gattaca as HLE crushed DRX in Game 1 and DRX go for the comeback in Game 2. That would be beautiful, but maybe they're going to go for the comeback in Game 1. As, my God, Andal just dies. What was that bullet? What hit him? It was a nuke. He doesn't have very many defensive stats, and Zeka is very strong, 3-0-5 right now. As the Curtain Call is underground again, Viper really playing with the ups and downs, and yeah, Rich is dead. Sponge is in.
Well, why do?
Why was Rich just walking into the tribe?
Why is Sponge here?
There are a lot
Freeze frame.
There's a lot of questions, but not a lot of answers.
Wondering how I got myself in this situation.
Yeah, well, he's going to go into the base, picks up that turret shot for fun, and then another one as well. And that was for fun also. Now, this is going to be Soul Point. array of them either. Actually, I imagine it would have been relatively close. I don't think this was a your alone.
And also I think there were a lot of votes you could have gone for. I think there was really a lot of good performances from the team. As DRX, unfortunately, in this one is...
Okay, we're not going to see, no one has the answers, and we knew that we couldn't have the answers. As Rich is dead again, Zeka did that the spirit rush towards him and kill him move.
DRX?
So now, like, it makes sense that a fourth... Okay, that's a flash charm. Absolutely beautiful. On to UCal here as Peanuts over the wall, gets the flash in. That is going to pick up the kill onto the rise. The curtains have been called once again as in goes Delight underneath 2 Nexus turrets, but he does not care. It is not bullet time, unfortunately, for LazyFeel. It is game over time as HLE are going to put DRX in the ground here in game number 1. A very convincing performance. A beautiful showing from both Viper and Zeka in this one. Have to say, Viper on this Jhin, that's...
라이즈 볼게, 우리 라이즈 볼게. 바텀 깬 거 같아. 볼 수 있고 나와볼래? 원래 더 들어와봐. 아. 2% 높을. 야, 이거 2명. 아, 살려줘. 아. 네, 갈게요. 아, 이거 진짜 2번 죽은 거. 진짜 레전드. 아.
Didn't really come together, and those flubs in the mid game really were kind of inexcusable. Sponge having a good one though.
I did damage max.
What I'm talking about, and they're gonna lock it in.
And now the top lane matchup doesn't even... Yeah, okay.
I mean, it was gonna be the Nidalee, wasn't it?
The top lane matchup doesn't even really matter when you really think about it, because you're winning bot. Mid, depending on jungle intervention, is gonna be looking good. Top lane isn't real. We have established this. It's fine. Just don't worry about it. And DRX, we have learned. I forgot against which team you did this. Remember when DRX chased someone in mid lane and then they just kind of lost the game off of it? That happened like 3 times, I swear.
Yeah, I think I've probably pushed that one out of my memory.
Good. It's not great. Orcs is still, to this day, reciting this memory.
Yeah, that's when he's not fighting with people on Twitter.
He would never.
No, it's right, because it's Viper.
Has to be.
That does make some sense. As okay. It's a beautiful draft. It's a beautiful draft for DRX. They can do it.
Nidalee's a problem, Atlas.
No, she's not. She's a construct. We don't have to believe in it. Let's dive onto the Rift for game number 2. Advantages can really work as Sponge is in the enemy jungle. I don't know whether did he walk over that ward in order to get there? That's the question, as we might just have vertical jungling if Peanut does know exactly what's going on.
Yeah, vertical jungling would be really good for Helma Life, because it gives Delight and Viper the ability to just freely push for 2, which is
Zia, as Peanut, as we kind of expected, is just going to drive his way through a couple of walls to start on this bottom side. And it's Zeka that's actually going to be his target. 300 health on Zeka here. As Sponge running for him, finds the flash, but Zeka's going to flash immediately to get himself away. Still, you know, the Q is going to miss, and so Sponge is going to run away. But there was a theoretical opportunity, and it looks like Sponge, with the fact that he's now made his way through mid, is going to stop Peanut from taking away his red buff. Unless Peanut does some funny business, you can see him sticking around, picking up some rocks and things like that.
Still not a bad trade for Sponge if he gets his red.
Yeah. Peanut's actually...
Renata's ahead of the roam, but I think Sponge does have a smite available as well.
Andal's moving in. Let's see whether he can actually get over here, as the ward is going to get pulled out. And Andal will be able to get a mantra Q over this wall, or just a regular Q.
Picked up by Peanut in return.
Okay, Viper going to spend a little bit of time. He flashed forward, okay. LazyFeel feeling a little bit worried about this one as Delight moves his way back in. The flash out, handshake going to go wide. And we are just putting summoner spells on cooldown. The answering maneuver is pretty nice here, though, as LazyFeel stacking up some Blight. Delight getting taken down low. Flash has to be employed.
Breaking by any means, because Peanut is also able to catch a second rotation. Peanut also got the topside scuttle, and I don't think he'll be able to get botside scuttle if Undo and LazyFeel pull another wave, and it does look like it's going to be a single scuttle, but still, now gets clear for the rest of the jungle. Peanut's still fine. But still, nicely done there early on.
Yeah, and this little scuffle towards the bottom side looked great for DRX, but you can see, like, Viper is still going to be ahead in farm. After this wave crashes, Peanut also looking to try and put on a little bit of pressure here, but decides to not give away his position. And Sponge will be able to collect.
So I could just
Rich is dead.
Oh.
Zeus kills him for first blood. What it means, we're yet to find out.
Aw, kind of bad for Rich.
Yeah.
I did see the frustration on his face.
Yeah, it's not great. We expected this to be a difficult matchup, and who would have thought it was?
So if you have a dominant laner, that ends up being a really big win for you, as unfortunately doesn't hit the shock blast, so Zeus can just all in with reckless abandon, and then it's the execute damage there on Cougar form.
Trying to come on through here as Viper slowed down momentarily. Flash out from Andal. Peanut trying to turn up here as he flashes and finds the max range Impale. Lazy Field will be able to cleanse this and flashes eventually to get himself out of the way. So no summoner spells left. Emperor's Divide gonna throw Zekka onto the turret. He has to take the long way round because he has no flash, and now Yukal trying to kill him. He flashes over the gravity field. He needs an Arise, and he won't have it. Conquering Sense not there, and Zekka survives. Oh dear, and now Peanut is going to welcome insult to injury. Thankfully, Sponge going to be there.
I don't know if Yuka was out of range, but I think he autoed a minion there once. I don't think it would have been enough. I think Zekka was shockingly healthy. Sponge?
Sponge wanting to leapfrog Peanut here, but realizing he's not quite going to be able to. Andal comes in as well, and Zekka is going to do the warp.
Don't do that.
Don't do it, Peanut.
No, he just TP'd in, even if he doesn't die. No!
Yeah, Peanut's going to do it, isn't he? Zeus, Primal Surge, trying to get his health bar back up. Good flash there from Rich. And Zeus thinks he's still dead. I don't know whether that's going to be exactly true.
But it doesn't matter at this point. But the series of unfortunate events, the show.
No, I haven't actually. Was it good?
The new one, yes. But the opening theme song starts with "Look away, look away." Everything from here out is nothing but this. That's Rich. He's a much better way to get me to do stuff.
All right, Emperor's Divide is going to pull back Zekka once again. This time he's dead. You only needed 3.
X out?
Yeah.
Oh, it's the same.
Otherwise, you're going to get the vibes wrong. Okay. Viper and Peanut going to get to work on this dragon. Should be able to take this one down. 12.5 minutes for the first one. Going to be a little bit of a late dragon. Still, HLE blocking that one up. Trying to cool down, and then it's problematic. As Yukal has a few friends up here towards the top side. Peanut moving on in.
A lot more slippery, though, this bird.
Yeah, we've got Pigeon versus Cat and Scorpion.
Does he spot Sponge? I think he will. Yeah, so Zeus, unless they go for a dive, looks like Zeus is also going to ensure that that is not the case. Checks the brush.
Yeah, Buckler can get thrown over and doesn't get stunned. And now Sponge may be dead. Keeper's Verdict. Just going to get channeled. He's got his Ghost Blade.
Demolish Proc? No, don't punish him for Demolish Proc.
No.
Stop bully!
Yeah, Peanut's going to flash. Remember, Rich doesn't quite have his available just yet. Trying to turn it on the Viper here. Doing decent damage. Gets a flash. That's already kind of worth. Move into an advantage. Also looking to get some extra damage on this outer turret at the same time as Yukal going to get hand shook, and that's going to interrupt. Okay, no, actually did have Shifting Sands, but it does not matter. That's the light picking up. That's going to be a lot of extra power. Sponge, Hex flashing over. You mentioned the unlocking of that ability. And that's going to work out, but now Viper is getting engaged on here by Rich. Yeah, that is a really good question, Chronicler. Peanut tanked a few turret shots, and Rich is going to put that flash back on cooldown yet again. And yeah, Rich is dead.
Right, but you got to lock in. You can't let that get to you. Then the second death is
you
like,
get
oh
ganked
my God,
and there's nothing you can do.
I want players, and there's nothing they can do.
You see that? Light stacks getting procced onto Viper here, doing a fair bit of damage as Shelly just going to pop up and end this turret. That is going to successfully happen. There we go.
Quick, yes or no?
Yes.
I think no. I think it's checked out.
All right. So that means that it's going to be Chemtech, but it's not. Nice work, Bob.
He's checked in.
Yeah, there we go. He knows that there's a possibility for a DRX something in this game as Delight finds the handshake and the flash has to be in answer. As Andal, why?
Well, they got collapsed on, right? So like,
yeah.
He didn't really have anywhere to go. Will end up going down.
Just holds him in position.
Peanut, stop dancing!
Yeah, he's having a good time, isn't he?
He wasn't, but it wasn't just the emote. He was doing the little.
Yeah.
It was a little.
As a lawnmower as well.
Yeah.
Makes it even more worrisome. I didn't even say dire straits. I just said the word dire. Okay, Sponge moving in once again. He's looking for a fight. He's surrounded by 3 people. Yukal looking for an opportunity. Keeper's Verdict does do a fair bit of work here. And the Redemption going to be keeping HLE safe.
There's a Cougar-shaped problem in the bot lane.
There really is, and it's a return to base here for UCal. He's got teleport. He's going to go for an aggressive one, as we can see here, and in fact, doesn't decide to go back to base. Is instead just going to come in and see whether he can take down Zeus. HLE take that as an opportunity, which they rightly should, to try and take this Otacon. The rest of them, oh my god, that Shock Blast did a lot of work. The transformation from this Jace, I think that is definitely not happening.
Well, yeah, I think you can. Again, you just need to turn quickly, because you have the shield from Karma, and you can use the Azir and the Poppy.
Whoa, the flash forward, Chains of Corruption are going to connect there as well as LazyField trying to layer the damage. The Impale is going to be used, but very defensively here from Peanut. Still, he might be able to buy enough time. As Zeus off, out of position here, and the Renata is just going to go down. UCal actually picking the flash from Zeka. That's gorgeous. LazyField gets in position. Sponge looking for a bit more though, and now Viper is hopping mad. Oh dear, I think it was a good attempt from DRX, but it may not necessarily work, as now Rich fighting Zeus as LazyField goes down to the Cougar. And Rich has died to him before, but not this time! Could have almost done it, but decides instead to go for this mid lane inner turret, or at least denying some farm or something like that. But still, it's not the worst fight in the world for DRX. That's so many sticks. Look at that.
Yeah.
Man, it looks like
the Otacon, and now are here to fight for its objective.
Oh, there's the denial of Soul Point. And then just say, by the way, Sponge did a really good job today in your pom.
That's a good Palman.
Yeah, I reckon you just rely on the comment there. As Andal just taking so much damage from the Arcane Storm. Hostile Takeover doesn't really do too much. As Fate's Call just going to pull out Delight. DRX still looking for an opportunity. That is a great flash from Rich as Peanut gets the bailout, and they do manage to bail him out, but it's not enough. As now UCal once again just doing something weird, throws away the ultimate, and Viper will survive. LazyField getting a whole bunch of shots into Zeka here, and there it is. Finishes him off with the piercing arrow. Now Zeus going to get turned on. There are some low health bars. Zeus without the mana to really do too much. Although he is Nidalee, so not too worried about that in Cougar form. Still able to get himself out of the way, and the Baron has been secured. They just don't go for that one. Zeus in the mid lane now, and UCal looking for a little bit of an angle, but that is going to push Zeus away, achieving what they wanted to achieve. And HLE just going to utilize this Baron to take the inner turret towards the top side of the map. The Rebel Baron power play is going to reach about the 2,000 mark. There it is, 2.4k, as Peanut looking for even more. And the siege is continuing without too much of an answer here. Sponge looking for a bit of an angle. UCal wanting to get in there. As Peanut taking some decent damage. Zeka in that front line wanting to push them away. And LazyField actually doing a decent job just against Zeus by himself. Another Arcane Storm just to
makes playing into the Azir and Sideline a lot better, because he does much less damage. Zeus is just going to remain annoying on the side. But Rich, I know he's behind, but he's still at item parity relatively.
Oh, there's an Impale onto Sponge. He is a very tanky target. We can see he's just kind of refusing to take damage here, and the poke coming out from DRX. It's pretty decent. The Dragon looking to be started up here.
Come on, DRX.
LazyField is going to take an inner turret.
We got the Sponge.
Yeah, Sponge's going to have to land the Keeper's Verdict. But instead, they are just going to give up this Dragon, and they're going to trade it for an inhibitor turret in mid lane. If DRX can stop the backs, maybe it's even an inhib. I don't know about that one, but still, it's a fair bit of money going on over to DRX. Situation, right?
I think it's okay. I do think you also are in deep trouble if they get the Mountain Soul, but at that point, you know, is there anything that you can really do? Probably not. DRX,
all right, Zeus could be in a whole lot of trouble. They're taking the cat for a walk. Peanut is going to make his way down, and Zeus is a lot tankier than he's been in other builds. Still, Sponge comes in, and Rich is able to get the damage. Zeka comes in, but he's not enough. Look at him run! Wait, hang on, checking the hands. I'm seeing there's some, it's faded, but it's there. It's there, Chronicler. I swear to God. It's going to be very, very strong.
Yeah!
All right, just stop Baron. Why not? They get the teleport immediately. They can look for a turn now as Rich picks the gap. That's actually 6 points. There were 4 posts set up as Keeper's Verdict gets channeled, and it's somehow LazyField that takes the Baron. Now Zeus fighting against Rich. He takes the blast going to get out. Peanut's already dead. Viper is in a bit of trouble as Delight is going to be there. The bailout comes through. They take down the Renata as this bailout's not going to work. And it's UCal that grabs the kill. Now LazyField needs to fight for his life, and it does not work. Andil, just try and survive. Rich, please don't die. Andil's really dead, but he's going to try and buy some time. He takes the cat for a walk. Cats don't normally like that, although some of them do. This one certainly does not. And Rich is going to deal with this wave kill, but you're just not doing very much while that's happening.
Surely. This is a must-win fight, though. And the Baron buff is still there for Rich.
Sponge going to interrupt Peanut here.
No, Sponge, I trust him. He has face rush, he's poppy.
He is just walking circles around him, man.
Literally!
He's looking good.
Rich.
Viper on a flank angle. Rich also on a flank angle as DRX looking instead. They've...
Okay, no, you can do this, but... Wait, no, they're 25 seconds. Yeah, they just got the in-air.
Yeah, eyes on the prize. The backs are going to come in here from
rotate
HLE.
Back.
Exactly, they have to defend because there's a minion wave in Baron, remember. Rich still has it. And they have 3 grubs. They're going to do some decent damage there. They take the inhibitor. DRX tax, is that a thing? Zeus on a decent flank angle here as the Impale goes wide. Still gets the crash into the wall. Peanut will not get ulted away, but it's a smite from Sponge to deny the soul. Still, they have to try and win a fight here as HLE have got them all split up. Sponge takes a while to go down, but go down he eventually does. And Zeus dashing forward, finds the pounce. And DRX, oh no, they're looking a little aceable at this point in time. They're going to have to stand their ground. Yukel trying to be a hero, but once again, he throws the Emperor's Divide away. And Zeka, he flashes out of it. Yukel not taking too much damage here from Peanut as LazyField doing a whole bunch. But Viper comes in and says, no, I am sorry, it's not happening. There's an ace for HLE. And oh man, it was faint, but maybe it was one of those fake tattoos that you get from the school fair. And it is just all washed away. No more game on the hands. It's looking like HLE just want to close this one out.
This is not an Atlas meme. This is a real thing. Yep. It was very cool. And if you don't think it's cool, then, well, I'm sorry, but you're wrong.
Yeah,
it was.
He also didn't drive it.
People don't need to know that.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, he totally drove it.
What we need to know is that we can see how Peanut knows how to stand next to a motorcycle.
Yeah, and that was before Rift Herald was drivable as well, so it's actually kind of cool now that knowing that Peanut rode that bicycle means that, you know, Shelly he's got that Shelly license. Unlike, LazyField will be able to get the cleanse out from Viper, also takes a fair bit of damage here. DRX pressing some, and Peanut's got a lot of health bar. Flashes to try and get Andil. They're just looking for one pick-off at the start of this one. The hostile takeover doesn't get a lot of value as the Keeper's Verdict gets rid of the carry. That's a big one. Now Rich looking for an angle, but HLE, they just disengage. And DRX are going to be okay with it by the looks of things. Death Ray.
The health bars.
Oh dear.
They're so low, Atlas.
There are so many tools that are now missing, and Zeka is just in the Zeus is just in the bottom lane, yeah. And Rich is going to go back a little bit too late. Teleport to come in as the Emperor's Divide is going to find Zeka. Let's see if they get a kill. LazyField looking for the opportunity. Zeka's so incredibly low. LazyField distracted by Peanut, though his Sponge will be able to take down the victor. But LazyField goes golden, then goes into his GA, and then he's going to go down, ladies and gentlemen, as he gets thrown into the wall and destroyed. Zeus is running amok, just killing everything in the enemy base. And it's only Andil that's left up and available. I think HLE.
Tried so hard, they got so far, but in the end, only Zeka dies.
Yeah.
And HLE are about to bring us to an end of week number 6.
And Andil is not going to be able to defend, as yes, they ran out of minion wave, but it doesn't seem to matter this time around. Even Peanut will survive, and the Nexus will go down. 41.5 minutes, and HLE, only one team.
I did forget to put in my I wanted to vote for Sponge comment.
Yeah.
You do know who I voted for, though. It should be pretty...
It'd be Viper.
It will be Viper.
Yeah. I was like, it's a question. And then I was like, hang on, it's not a question.
If LazyField gets him immediately here,
yeah,
that could have been it.
He got a little bit distracted. I think did a lot of damage there, but Delight playing the aggro game very effectively.
Oh, the Q as well. If that Q kills Peanut, another example. Viper kills him, but maybe that's enough to hold on desperately, but...
I don't think so. I think
Look
it
at
is...
Peanut's little, like, sipping his drink.
I can imagine a little bit sheepish in this one. Zeka doing that thing where you play Victor and you just do the most damage, even though when we're watching the games, we don't really see it. But throwing down Arcane Storm after Arcane Storm onto an Andil will net you 43k damage, as it turns out. Zeus also doing a fair bit with a full tank Nidalee build. Looking forward to seeing what the space has to say about that one.
감사합니다.
Thank you very much, guys. This is Dear for the POM interview translation, joined by Viper on the side of Hana Life Esports. Following the last POM, you have been selected as POM once again. How does it feel? No, I didn't actually think that I would be getting POM today because my teammates did so well today. I'm just thankful that everyone thought and saw me in a good light for me to get POM today. In game 1, you had a flawless gameplay with Jin, almost as if saying the POM is mine today. Your Deadly Flourish and Curtain Crawl were on point today, so do you have a secret to hitting these skill shots? I do tend to practice a lot in solo queue. And I try to communicate with my teammates and try to predict where the enemy will land. And in game 2, you had such an amazing Kalista performance. And Kalista can complete boots first or before finishing Blade of the Rune King, and sometimes vice versa for some players. So when would you choose each path? Honestly, it's a business secret, but when I play Kalista, I do believe that attack speed is really important, and that's what I usually go for. But with the recent nerf, I feel like that's why some players do tend to finish Bork first. But personally, I do still appreciate the attack speed on Kalista. And in game 2, it was such an intense game. But Hana Life Esports came out with a win. And even if Hana Life Esports first falls behind early, all the players seem to start skirmishing with confidence. So what is the source of this confidence? We usually try to play around mid, and even if we fall behind, I think we just try to engage whenever we think that it's a winnable fight. And I think we try to create those kind of variables to make sure that we get the edge to win the game in the end. And we could really feel your affection towards your teammates. And we caught you using Zeus's emote. So how big is your love for Zeus? To be honest, before the game started, we did talk about emote and emoting, and Zeus actually told me that, he really likes his own emote, so yeah, I don't think it's bad. I like it. So is it that you guys selected your emotes today before the game? Yeah, I think we were just sitting there talking about how good our emotes are. And your next opponent is KT, who is on the rise, so how will you prepare? KT's performance has been really solid lately, so we definitely can't get ahead of ourselves. They always try to come up with a really solid performance and good gameplay, so we'll make sure that we stay sharp to make sure that we win. And any message for your fans? So for the rest of the regular season, we want to make sure that we win and show you that we can make it to rank 1. And that's the end of the interview with Viper, and back to the space. Thank you.